what we're going to be doing today is looking at how you can start coding, what you need to start coding, and writing our first lines of code. So I am on jetbrains.com/Pycharm, and Pycharm is a Python IDE because I also code Python. And so I use Pycharm, and it's an integrated development environment. Basically, that's just saying I can code, test, and debug my code like all in one place. There are different environments that you can use. So some people like Sublime Text, some people like Visual Studio Code, but you can look it up and look through which one that you would prefer. But for my videos, I will be using Pycharm. So you can go to Pycharm and click download. And then I would use the professional one because there's a free trial and it's free. And there's also different coding languages that you can use, which we will be using. So go ahead and download the professional one. And then once you download it, you should get this startup screen. Of course, you won't have all these projects on the side like I do, but you will click create new project. And I'm going to change this title here. So it's going to be inside of Pycharm projects, and I'm just going to say tutorial. Once I click tutorial or type tutorial, I will click create. And it'll load up. And see, now our folder is right here on the side. So the next thing that you guys want to do is to click new and say HTML file. So we are going to be starting with creating a website, and the first thing that we're going to need is an HTML file. And don't worry, I'm going to explain what all of that means. So once I click HTML file, it asks me what do I want to name the HTML file. I'm going to say index, which is basically the standard title for an HTML file. I'm going to leave it on HTML5, which is the most updated, and I'm just going to click enter. So now all this pops up, and you're probably like, what the crap does all this even mean? So let me go through it for you. So doc type HTML basically is just telling us that this page is written in HTML5. That's all this means. This document is written in HTML5. And it doesn't have the number 5 or anything like that. It's just recognizing that HTML means it's written in HTML5. Line 2, where it says HTML lang equals EN, all this is saying is that this is written in English. This HTML file is written in English. This next section, 3, is called our head tag. And this is a space for metadata, which is like data for about data. It describes the HTML document, and it's not displayed on your website. Okay, it's not saying anything. The words will not come up on the actual browser. So this space right here where it says title, this is where we can write the title to our page. So I would say my first website. Okay, and what that title is, it's the title for the document and will show up on your browser tab. It'll also show up in the favorites tab if you were to save it to favorites, and it'll also show up in your search engine results. So this is just the title of my page. Next section is called body. And the body tag is the visual part of the HTML document. So this is where everything that I want to show up on my page is going to go in between these two tags. You might also notice that it says like head and then head again with a slash in front of it. Same thing for body and then a slash here. So this first tag here, body, that's starting that section of my page. So I want this to be a body tag. And then when I'm done with that section, I have to put a closing tag so that my computer knows, oh, okay, you're done with this section. Let's move on to the next section. So all it is opening and closing tags. So just like for this title. I'm starting a title. Hey computer, I'm starting a title. I want the title to say my first website. And now I'm going to close it off because I'm done with the title. Same thing here. Head, starting the head. I want all this information inside. Then I'm done with that section, so I'm going to put a closing tag. Okay? So that was a lot. So now let's just actually visualize what this looks like. We changed our title. And so if I click over here, the cool thing about Pycharm is it has these little icons here that we can open this up in a browser. So they have Chrome and Firefox and Safari, and whichever one you use. I use Chrome, so I'm gonna click Chrome. It's gonna open it up for me. Now I don't see anything because we haven't coded anything yet, but I can see right here on the tab, it says my first website. So we've given it a title and you see the Pycharm icon. So it just gives us a local host so that we can see what we're working on before we actually make it live. So let's go back to Pycharm and let's just write a couple of things to just visualize it on our page. So if I'm inside my body tag, remember that means this is what's going to be visible on the page. And so I'm going to start with an H1 tag. And again, the cool thing about Pycharm is it just puts it up for you. It automates stuff for you, so you don't have to keep typing closing tags over and over. So an H1 tag is my heading tag. And it can go from H1 to H6. And H1 is the largest and H6 is the smallest. So we'll just write a couple so you can see. So starting inside of H1, I'm gonna say, this is my first line of code. And if I save it, Command save, I go back to Google Chrome and refresh, it comes up. This is my first line of code. Awesome. So now, say I wanted an even smaller title under that. So I would click enter after my closing tag. Tab. Now I want to do, let's say, an H3 tag. So it's going to be a little bit smaller. This is another title. You can say anything that you would like. Command save. Go back to our page, refresh, and then you see this is another title. So I have my heading H1 and then I have H3, and as you can see, the size is different. So now what if I wanted to do a paragraph? So if you think about it, what tag would be for paragraph is just P. And as you can see, it comes up, has my closing tag. And so here I could just write a bunch of nonsense. That would be my paragraph. I could save it, go to my page, refresh, and then you see it comes up here. So awesome. That was your first lines of code. You are already coding, which is awesome. You have your environment set up. So go ahead and subscribe to my channel for upcoming videos.